All right, this is Coach Campbell. I guess I'll just start off with, I am obviously proud of our football team tonight. I thought, again, resiliency within the game, a lot of respect for Oklahoma and certainly their football program. I think there's also a big part of me that's disappointed in the fact that I still don't think we played anywhere near what we've got the ability to play. And if we want to have the ability to become, a team that's got the ability to have success down the run here and in the long haul, then we've got to really work on our precision and our details. So a lot of work to do from our end. Certainly great to come home. I really appreciate our great fan base. I thought there was great energy in the stadium tonight. Obviously, our student body, and they do a great job for us. So greatly appreciative of that, but I will answer any questions you have for me.
All right, our first question will come from Randy Peterson, Des Moines Register. Go ahead, Randy.
Good evening, Matt. Congratulations.
Yeah.
What enabled your team to hang together when you guys trailed
Yeah,
at times?
Randy, I think so much is not being talked about with our senior class. Again, I just forgot to remind everybody, you're talking 16 seniors, and the bulk of that senior class came to Iowa State when Iowa State was, the laughing stock of college football. I mean, Chase Allen, Jaquan Bailey, these guys came to Iowa State when we were 3-9. Year one, and a couple consecutive years of that vision of what was going on, and really what we sold was a vision of hope. And to be honest with you, so many of these guys have been a pillar from day one of that building block. And I'll be really honest with you, I really felt in the heat of the moment, it's Lawrence White's pass breakup. It's Kaneda Wangu's huge kick return, which I really felt like was the difference in the game. It's Dylan Sainer throwing a ball to Chase Allen. It's the blocking of those guys, those tight ends in the perimeter. It's Jaquan Bailey. It's Any. So, for me, why we are what we are is because we've got great seniors, and those 16 seniors have been the anchor of great poise, and have been the anchor to demand us to just keep fighting.
Our next question will come from Travis Hines of the Ames Tribune. Travis, unmute yourself and go ahead.
What allowed the defense, after giving up, I think, 17 points there early to really be able to slow Oklahoma for the last 2.5 quarters, 3 quarters?
Yeah, I just felt like we kind of settled in. I think the speed of the game was really fast, and obviously a lot of credit to Oklahoma because, the talent that they have, and some of the speed that they were running with early. I thought we kind of got our cleats in the ground after the first, quarter and a half. I do think it's important for us to win on first down. We didn't do a great job of that early in the game, and I think when you saw us have the ability to have success, that ability to have success really came on the heels of being able to win first down. So I thought that was hugely positive as the game continued on.
Our next question will be from Jared Stansberry of Cyclone Fanatic. Go ahead, Jared.
Coach, and what did Kanay's kick return mean in the moment when it happened? Obviously, you guys had just gone down, and for him to be able to make that play and maybe get some more momentum back on your side at that moment.
Yeah, if you ask me, that's the play of the game. If that doesn't happen, I don't know what the outcome is. But I think literally that play was the difference in the football game. So, I think that was huge for us, huge momentum swing, and gave us a chance to go down there and obviously score a touchdown and kind of regain some of that momentum and bring our crowd back into it.
The next question will be from Scott Docterman of The Athletic. Scott, you're unmuted. Go ahead.
Yeah, Matt, I was interested in knowing a little bit more about that play call that for Xavier Hutchinson's touchdown. I mean, it looked like they were in zero coverage. They really got sucked in on that play fake. What was the play, and did they do exactly what you wanted them to do on that play defensively?
Well, they did. They were really. I felt like, getting extra hats, especially those two really outstanding safeties that they have, into the mix in the run game, and you could almost feel those guys as the game wore on, really starting to press towards the line of scrimmage. And, obviously you had to win at the corner, on the corner, and Xavier did. And, I felt like obviously the throw was outstanding. Brock is a run pass read and, made a great read on it and obviously made a great throw. But I think for Xavier to break the tackle and to make that play, that was certainly a huge spark as well.
Our next question will be from Matt Bellinson of the Iowa State Daily. Go ahead, Matt.
Hey, Matt, when you first got on with us, you mentioned how you think your team still hasn't played their best football yet and is still looking to play a complete game. How much did the penalties tonight play a factor in that, and how hard was it with those penalties to really grab momentum on either side?
Yeah, again, a complete game. I think we know how to play 60 minutes. Our problem is we don't know how to play 60 minutes with great precision yet. And, until we can get close to that, then, we're going to live in this world where, it's hard. It's hard to win football games this way. And so, hopefully it's great that we won the game. But, like I told our kids, that there's got to be a demand for everybody involved in this program to continue to aim to become the best version of us. And I think that's fell short at times in our program. And yes, great to get the win, but there's so much more out there for this team to become the best version of itself it can be. And we're going to keep fighting for it. And, at some point you got to demand it across board. And we've got the right leadership in this program right now to demand it and keep getting better.
Our next question will be from Rob Gray of Cyclone Fanatic. Go ahead, Rob. Rob, can you try again? Your question is not coming through. Oops. Rob muted himself here. Give us a second here. All right, we're having some issues with Rob. Zane Douglas from the Iowa State Daily, go ahead.
Hi, Matt. How do you think Brock kind of avoided listening to the noise of the first two games to play probably his best game of the year?
Yeah, I thought Brock played really good last week. So whatever noise that was out there is probably people that don't know what they're talking about.
And then I guess one more question. Breece Hall, now that's 3 games, over 100 yards. He had the game-winning touchdown. Just what can you say about him just in his sophomore year only?
Yeah, I know I've said this about Breece a lot. Breece is a really talented football player. He's young. I think he's grown immensely just even in the last 3 football games. And, Breece has got the ability to become great, but there's still so many little details for him that he has to keep pounding away at. But, I am certainly really proud of Breece, and I think in the most critical moments tonight, he was certainly really special.
Thank you.
Our next question will be from Ben Visser of the Cedar Rapids Gazette. Go ahead, Ben.
Hey, Coach, building off that last question a little bit, what changed in the second half for Breece? Because in the first half, I think he only had like 41 yards. Second half, he had almost 100. What changed that second half? Was it just a matter of wearing him down, or what did you see there?
Yeah, I just think for us, we were able to create some explosive plays a little bit in the second half. And, I think those explosive plays helped us kind of create a little bit of a cushion and get some of those extra hats out of the box. And, I'll be anxious to watch the game in its entirety from my end to see, what and how the offensive line played. But, I think, again, you got to be able to make some plays downfield. And, obviously we've got a quarterback that allows us to do it. And it was great to see Xavier be a guy that can certainly loosen up that defense at times for us tonight.
Our next question will be from Travis Hines of the Ames Tribune. Go ahead, Travis.
Matt, you mentioned how big Kanae's return was, but can you talk a little bit about just him being ready to take, seize that opportunity as a guy, obviously as a veteran. I don't think he had a carry tonight, but there in the fourth quarter maybe has the biggest touch.
Yeah, Travis, he had the one carry, unfortunately for him, that was huge. It would have taken us to the 1-yard line, but, we didn't have enough guys on the line of scrimmage. And, again, lack of discipline and detail. But I think from my end of it for Kanae, man, he's been really close all year. And, that's 2 games in a row that Kanae Nwangu, after the turnover last week for a touchdown, it's Kanae's run that literally sparks our football team. And, again this week, our backs are against the wall, and it's Kanae Nwangu. And so a senior that's really been through hell and back, to be honest with you, in terms of the injuries and fighting through what's occurred for him. And, a guy that's just stayed the course. He's kept fighting. He's kept growing. He hasn't given up. And, that's what seniors do that have stayed the course. And it means a lot, too. And, for Kanae, he's certainly a really special human, obviously, on top of being a really good football player.
Our next question will be from John Schaefer of WOR. Go ahead, John.
Matt, it seems like every week we could talk about Will McDonald, but he comes in with that big sack there right before that game-winning touchdown drive. What did you see on that big sack between him and Mike Rose?
I give a lot of credit to Coach Haycock. I think he was able to create some pressure a little bit in the second half, and some great schematical changes that we were able to make at halftime. And Mike really takes the block of the tailback on that play and allows Will to be singled up. And I think Will's one of those guys that you just he keeps coming. He's a relentless football player. And so you're right, Mike's got to get credit for it. Obviously Will with a huge play, and I think at the end of it you got to give a lot of credit to Coach Haycock and the defensive staff to making some good adjustments so we could get some pressure in the second half.
The next question will be from Jared Stansberry of Cyclone Fanatic. Go ahead, Jared.
Coach, I know you've talked about Charlie a lot, especially this week, and what having him back means. But today, he had 4 catches, but he probably had nearly as many yards just from trying.
Yeah, I think, and you cut off just a smidge, Jared, but I think your question's about Charlie and his effectiveness, and Charlie is a very talented football player, and Charlie is one of those guys that can be at times a matchup challenge for people, and I'm really proud of him because he's worked really hard to get healthy. Number 2, in the heat of the moment, Charlie's a guy that's always been there for us, and he was certainly that guy tonight. And give credit to Brock to getting him the football in some situations for him to be successful. But Charlie made some huge plays for this team.
Next question comes from Randy Peterson of the Des Moines Register. Go ahead, Randy.
Matt, you know as well as anybody that when you got here, you didn't have any tight ends on scholarship. Now tonight you've got a tight end throwing a pass to a tight end. Can you talk about that play a little bit and the evolution of the tight end?
Yeah. For us, Dylan Sainer, he always likes to tell everybody, in our program, he was a former high school quarterback. He thinks he's got the strongest arm, but, I felt like he underthrew it maybe a little bit tonight. We'll have to look at the videotape and see. But, I think just in general, that tight end room for us from the very day we got here, and you're talking about being able to get Chase and Dylan in that first recruiting class, those were huge recruiting wins for us. And, we knew that was an area of I'll never forget coming in here and seeing the depth chart and no scholarship tight ends, and thinking that it was going to be a real challenge to be able to play good football without those guys. And, I've said this about the offensive line, and I think the tight end is very similar, at Iowa State, you're not going to just wave the magic wand and all of a sudden the tight ends are going to show up. You're going to have to recruit guys and then develop them. And I think all 3 of those players have really worked hard to develop and become the absolute best they can be. And, right now they were so critical to our last 2 games and the success we've had. So we'll need them to continue to play at a high rate. I think it's really helped the offensive line. I think it's really helped us in the passing game create matchups, and, we're really proud of all 3 of those guys.
Thanks, man.
Sure.
Our final question for Coach Campbell will come from Scott Docterman of The Athletic. Go ahead, Scott.
Yeah, Matt, since you've gotten here, you've taken a weed whacker to a lot of bad history around here, but, this is a program that Iowa State hadn't beaten at home in 60 years. What does it mean for maybe you and for the program to be able to kind of slay that dragon?
Yeah, I think it means a lot more to our senior class. This senior class, Scott, like I said, this is a group that really came here with a vision. And I think sometimes in recruiting that's really hard because, you know, at least I'm a guy that likes concrete evidence. And, you know, we sold a vision. That vision, you know, this group has been such a huge pillar of creating that vision into, you know, some sort of reality. And, you know, obviously it's great to be able to continue to do things that haven't been able to be done before, but it takes a lot of loyalty and faithfulness within our walls to continue to build the right way. And we're fortunate to have great leadership. And so, you know, I guess to me, that's the greatest thing that I get to enjoy every day is coming in and watching our leaders lead and really watching us continue to grow. And, you know, I know I've said this, but there's still a lot of growth for us to have to do to get to be the program we really want to be. But, you know, we'll keep plugging away and just an honor to be able to coach these guys and work with these guys day in and day out.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.